In my last video, I compared the Canon M100 to the Sony ZV-E1. A bit of a David and Goliath mismatch, especially because I used the kit lens with this. And you know what? It did pretty good. I think a lot of you actually liked the Canon colors more, but let's be real. On the kit lens, on an older APS-C camera, I mean, the colors and the clarity just aren't gonna look quite as good. However, I have since purchased the Sigma 16mm f1.4. I mean, this lens is pretty popular amongst YouTube people for just being maybe one of the best value lenses out there. I bought it used for $360 Canadian. So for the two of these things together, I paid around $650. Is this $360 lens as good as this $2,000 G Master lens? I mean, obviously the answer is going to be no. However, when it comes to making YouTube videos, YouTube compresses videos down. And at the end of the day, what I'm trying to help you find is that sweet spot between good quality and good value. Can the smaller form factor crop sensor camera keep up with the big full frame sensor when it comes to YouTube videos? I used to say no right away, but now, well, you're gonna have to see for yourself. I'm gonna start off in my little studio. I'll have them side by side. I'll let you guess which one is which in the beginning, but then afterwards, I'll go through a couple different scenarios, a couple different atmospheres with different lighting, and then we'll see how well this little lens can really do. I'm gonna compare the bokeh at f1.4. I'm gonna leave them wide open for the whole video. So it's not really a sharpness or clarity test, more so just pleasing to the eye. Let's jump to it right now. Is this the APS-C camera or is this the full frame one? Can you tell? How does it look? Does it look good? How about you? Are you the full frame one or are you the crop sensor? Both of these cameras are set. The ISO is at 160. Frame rate is at 1/60th because I'm shooting at 30 frames per second. According to these cameras, they are both properly exposed. I have a natural light source with the big window here. I have my key light here. So I'm trying to make sure that it's even light on both sides. They are both in standard picture profiles. In my last video, I used the Canon M100, the crop sensor, with the kit lens versus the full frame Sony ZV-E1 with the 24mm G Master, Grandmaster? I don't know. I'm gonna call it Grandmaster lens. I mean, this setup is just dynamite if you know how to use it properly. I've been using a lot of the auto settings because I want to help new creators get the right gear. I've traded my way up to this big behemoth of a camera, but as I'm looking at it and comparing it to the older stuff, I'm realizing maybe it's a little bit of overkill. I mean, I had to figure that out the hard way, and I'm hoping I can save you some time and money by helping you figure out what the right gear is to get. So since I compared it last time with the kit lens, hopefully this lens will be a little bit of an upgrade and we can really see what an affordable setup with a good lens looks like compared to a not so affordable setup with a great lens. When it comes to YouTube, when they compress it down, does it really matter anyway? Looking at these screens, I'll show you what my setup is. I'll take a picture on my camera. So that is what I'm doing. I'm gonna move, in this video, I'm gonna move to a couple different scenarios and we can really see if f1.4 on a crop sensor can compete when it comes with f1.4 on a full frame lens. All right, let's start putting it through the tests, seeing what happens, and then at the end, I will give my summary as to whether I think if someone's starting a YouTube channel, if they should just go the budget route or if it's worth spending your hard-earned money on the big boy setup. Let's just do a bokeh test. I did not turn on my background lights. I left this one on because it does mess up the exposure when I put the background lights on. So I'm gonna put those on in a minute here. Let's just do a bokeh test right here. All right, let me close these lights. I'm gonna turn it on to auto ISO and let's turn the studio lights on. Here we go. Make it dark. All right, we are in my main shot here. This is usually what I do for my talking head stuff. I like customizing the different colors in the background. You're looking a little blown out. This is saying that it's properly exposed, but how does it look? Let me turn down my key light a little bit. It's at 30, let's see if it helps. Okay, that's at 25. How are we looking on the crop sensor? Is it a usable shot? What about now with the Sony? The white balances are similar. I will tinker with that in post to try and even it out a little bit. How are we looking on the full frame here? I will make some minor adjustments in post. I'm not gonna go too crazy. Like I said, I am shooting in standard profiles, but I just wanna see if it's usable. The whole point of this is to make it so it's easy. We just wanna click record, focus on the content. I wanna make sure that whatever camera you have or you use, it's easy. It's not too confusing so you can focus on what's important. The story. All right, let's go green. How How we doing, Sony? Are you kicking this little Canon's butt, the little crop sensor? Or is the little crop sensor hanging in there? Is it looking pretty good? All right, let's take it. We'll do another dark test here, then we'll bring it out into the light. Let me turn off everything except my key light here. Go off with you. All right. Let's even turn off the hair light here. This is the full frame shot with just the key light on here with a little Rembrandt style lighting. And here is the Canon M100 with the 16mm f1.4. Let's go as low as it can go. This is my light at 10%, as low as it goes. You know, it looks good on this little screen. When I compared the kit lens versus the big one, the difference between 4K on the full frame and this older camera was really the biggest difference. In the screen right now, when I'm looking at it, it looks good. The focus, it's only using face focus. It's not tracking my eye like the Sony. The Sony is just locked right onto my eye. So it has the face in there, but at f1.4, looks like it's letting in a lot of light. I will be curious if this is doable. Now, just for fun, I'm gonna go put the kit lens on and we're gonna see what this exact shot looks like with the kit lens. This is the kit lens at about 16mm. Let's see how it compares versus the rest. Auto ISO is on. All right, I'm not gonna turn on any stabe. Let's see, we're in the hallway here. How am I doing with auto ISO? Little Canon looks like it's exposing pretty well. It's found my face. This is a very dark room. How you doing there, Sony? Yeah, it's interesting what they show on the screen compared to bokeh in the background there. See the window, f1.4 over here on the full frame versus f1.4 on the crop sensor. Same distance. It looks like it's a lot more blurry in the background here. All right, now let's see something right up close. All right, how's the plant look in the background? How's the plant look in the background on you? All right, let's keep it going. Okay, we got the picture. It's looking like the blurry background is just nutso on the full frame compared to the, let's see if I get closer. How close do I gotta get for it to be the same blurry? I'm like 6 inches away. Are you still focused? Yeah, pretty good. And then with you, if I do the same, it just looks like a blurry mess back there. I thought it'd be fun to take this outside. I got my little wind cat on. Is that what it's called? A dead cat? I don't really get to use it much. It's windy, so I'll be very curious to how it sounds. All right, this is the full frame. We are outdoors. I have it at 1000 shutter speed. How does it look here? Does that background, here, let me get out of the way. That's what it looks like. Beautiful background, and boom. How'd the focuses do? Did they come in pretty quick? So that's what it looks like, f1.4 on a full frame with the Grandmaster lens. This is the Sigma 16. How does it look? Here, let me get out of the way. That's what it looks like. Beautiful background, and boom. How'd the focuses do? How's it exposing for my face? How's the shadows on my face under my hat? I wanted to put on some color to see how the color looks. So I've got a forest green hat, kind of teal shirt, and navy blue jacket. While the f1.4 is the same with the bigger sensor size on the full frame, I always find that the tests, it allows in more color. So I know a lot of people say the bokeh doesn't really matter because you can move a little closer with the full frame stuff, but I mean, this is how comfortably I like to work with the camera distance wise in front of me. This is the shot that I want. 16mm I think gets the shot done. The width is fine on the cropped body, so this is the equivalent to 24mm, which this is. So working with the cameras and lenses, this is, it's similar. There's no difference. The full frame is obviously a little bit heavier, has a lot more features and stuff, but if all my content was, oh yeah, let's see how it handles the blown out of the sun. Now let's switch and let's do more bokeh. Who wins the bokeh test? Let's see, let's get real close here. You. How's the house look behind me? You. All right, let's take it in the backyard. Now this might surprise you, but I'm not a professional. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just having some fun comparing an older camera from 2017 to a brand new one from 2023. In a perfect world, I would be comparing this beast of a camera versus maybe a newer sensor like the A6700, a real APS-C versus full frame test. But this is what I got, okay? Ooh, it's getting windy. How's the little dead cat doing over there? I'm wide at f1.4. How's the Canon doing? This is a trampoline back there, you can probably tell. How does it look on the full frame trampoline? Let's go on the other side. Full frame, this beautiful leaf, these pretty fall colors. Now let's look at it on the Canon. I feel like the background is blown out on the Canon, but it's not quite the same as it is on the full frame. It's just creamy and buttery. I mean, if you were watching my channel and this was all you see, I mean, that's not a bad looking shot. You could shoot outside. People would enjoy it. If your content's good, I can't really see a problem with this. For people starting off who want to do, look at me here, I'm gardening in my videos. Maybe it looks just fine on there. But on the full frame, I mean, obviously, this should probably just look a little bit better. We know that the autofocus is reliable on the Sony. Look how pretty. What's the clarity like? I think the real problem here is the difference between the 4K recording and the 1080p of the older Canon. A newer APS-C with a 4K sensor, again, something like the A6700 or maybe the Canon R8 would have been a much better comparison, but I think it looks pretty good. Now the next thing I want to do is when we're making YouTube videos, we do these talking head shots in different scenarios. We've been testing how it compares in the different lighting, but I also like to do some B-roll, some products, you know, for the reviews and all that other fun stuff. So let's test it out, how these cameras compare in the B-roll shots, and then we'll wrap it up. Autofocus test. Autofocus test. Okay, all right, I've had my fun. I'm all done playing with these two cameras. So what's the final verdict? Is this little 16mm good enough even for older cameras to start a channel, to grow your channel, to just have fun with? Or is it worth spending the extra bucks for the full frame glory that comes along with it? Now here's the thing. One of the biggest things to keep in mind is depending on how you watch this video will affect ultimately what you think of between the Canon and the Sony, the smaller frame versus the fuller frame. If you watch this on a big screen, you're gonna notice a huge difference in clarity and in color. But if you're just watching it on your phone and they're side by side, I mean, the Canon might look pretty good, and in some cases, might even look better on the smaller 1080p screen. I'm always surprised at how well it looks in the right circumstances. I think, yes, an older APS-C with a 16mm f1.4 lens is more than enough for most people, especially if you're able to get a newer 4K body like even the A6400. I mean, the newer stuff, the Canon R8, the A6700, the more expensive ones, the ZV-E10, are all great options. And if you've never had a camera before and you don't really know how to dial it in, how to set up good lighting, don't spend the money getting these big bodies because you're just going to confuse yourself. It's pretty overwhelming. So yes, I do highly recommend starting small. It might not be perfect, but nobody notices. If this is what the video quality looks like the whole time and you don't give them another choice, they get used to it. As long as it sounds good, people will like what you're doing. Unless you're seeing things side by side, you're not going to know any better. You're not going to know that this is what you could have been watching the whole time. It's a tricky trap to be set in because sometimes when you're watching your own videos, you want it to just look super good and high quality to reflect how you feel on the inside, but nobody else really cares other than you. You could totally grow your channel with the smaller lenses. Based on everything I did today, I will say that f1.4 on a smaller camera does not let in as much light as f1.4 on a bigger full frame sensor. The bokeh is different even when the cameras are at similar lengths. I mean, we all kind of knew that, but it's fun just testing it out for yourself. You saw my tests, you saw how the results looked. I do think the tests would have been different if I compared it with a different camera body, but maybe I'll do that one in the future. Okay. If you want to chat about the results from today's video, let's do so in the comments. That's my favorite part about this whole thing. So I appreciate it if you take time. And let me know what you think. Did the Canon surprise you? Did it do pretty good? And if so, in which scenarios did it do well? Or did the Sony just the whole time you're like, yeah, I know exactly which one the Sony is. I know which one the full frame is. Was it more pleasing to the eye? Since I knew it was already an unfair fight with these bodies, I did not take advantage of the full frame, the S-Log, everything like that. I tried to keep things pretty basic. Okay, that's enough. In case you missed my original video with the kit lens, I'll put that one here. Otherwise, maybe watch this video next. As always, thank you so much for supporting the video, taking time to comment and like and sub to the channel. It's the only way a small channel like mine can grow. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the SAD Studio. Dad!